it's best to have somebody that, if you try that out of the blue and it doesn't work, I personally, I couldn't care less. I think it's kind of funny, but in general, if you're working with a client, there's no need to create that, but if you want to, you can. It's not that hard. I am, as anyone who's heard me knows, I am extremely direct. I have no problem with anybody knowing I've done it, although I will admit that I have played with and tested doing it using conversational hypnosis, and not only had the person forget that they'd been in hypnosis, but they couldn't remember my name, even though they'd known me for a while. When I brought them out of it, again, using nothing but conversational, they're looking at me, and they got a dumbfounded look on their face, and they're standing there, and because I never put out a direct command, I did it conversationally, and they had just a dumb look on their face because they couldn't think of my name. And then they embarrassedly asked me, so.
Right.
But, I mean, you can do it either way. I just personally don't see any need to do it on purpose unless, of course, you have an ulterior motive.
Or people are watching and it's fun. Yeah.
That's true. Well, see, that's an ulterior motive. You're doing it as a performance.
Right. Excellent. Any questions on this? Okay.
I don't have any here.
All right. If anyone's online and has muted themselves, press *6, and you can ask a question, say hi, whatever you like. Another question, which is relative to what we're talking about, helping people, which from Michael Joseph says, what is your advice on the type of technique to utilize in post-traumatic stress cases? Now, we can't really go into a lot of detail, and you may have to have some background in some of Jeff's model, but Jeff, how do you deal with post-traumatic stress?
Well, typically with PTSD, I start off by using some sort of symbology technique to break the connection between the memory and the emotion. And at that point, then I use hypnosis, direct hypnosis, to deal with behavior. But it's kind of hard to get to the behavior when the person feels so bad every time they think about it, if you know what I mean.
Right. Now, I have a question for you that I run into occasionally, and I don't have my own good answer for it, which is, when I'm working with somebody, they're reporting a problem, maybe it's anxiety, for example, and I love testing my results so that, like for a stop smoking client, at the end of the session, they can think of a cigarette and they just don't want it. They can't even generate a craving. It's a complete test. And they know they paid their money and got the result. But for some people, like for anxiety, or let's say it's anger, just inappropriate anger, they can't get angry unless they're in a situation, unless they're triggered. Now, I can go into direct hypnosis, instruct the subconscious mind so that it doesn't do that anymore, but their response when they get out is, well, I'm going to have to wait till that trigger happens. So in other words, they don't know if they were hypnotized. Or they don't know if they're going to get the result if they got what they paid for. How do you address that?
Okay, first of all, I tend to deal with inappropriate anger based on a trigger. You don't need that moment, because if they've ever been there, all you have to do is elicit the state. You can elicit any state anybody has ever experienced in their whole life. So you just elicit the state, and as they approach the state, then you start asking, okay, what's happening just as that comes on you? What is it? I use the same thing. I use a redirect so that at that moment, I mean, I've done everything from have them just bust out laughing, which I found later on for that one particular person, it was extremely inappropriate because he kept laughing in his boss's face, which actually nearly cost him his job. So I've altered it a bit to more of a passive state. But essentially, find the state by eliciting it, then redirect as they find out what the approach is, how they know that anger's coming out, because there's always a signal that they know I'm about to blow my top. And once you have that, you simply redirect it, install that with direct hypnosis, and then even after the whole session's over, you can just start eliciting the state again and watch them have trouble getting there. Now, the first couple of times you do it, they're going to look really confused because it doesn't feel familiar anymore.
Right.
But they're going to find fairly quickly that they don't go to the anger anymore. They go somewhere else.
Okay.
But like I say, I've done it where I have them start laughing. I've done it where I have them just get all contemplative. I've had it where they just go into a completely passive state. And I even had one guy who specifically asked for it. He said his anger was always triggered by somebody asking a question that in his mind they should have known and there was no reason. So his brain kept telling him they're asking it just to hear their own voice. And so I used that as the trigger. Whenever that thought came, he would immediately look at them and just start staring at them in complete confusion. He didn't feel confusion, but his face showed great confusion. And he later reported back that it worked amazing because people would go, I guess I really did know that answer. Okay, sorry to bother you. And then they'd move away very quickly.
Oh, that's great. That's good. Wonderful.
It was his idea what to do with it, so I would, hey, if he does all the work for me by even telling me how to end up, it saves me a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Well, what I hear you saying is that if they know, if they're aware of what that trigger is, you can start with that.
Actually, you don't have to start with that. That's the thing. All you know is, for sure, is that they know that there is rage at certain times. If it's rage or extreme anger, that they know that they have at certain times and they have even a general idea what's triggering it. Most of the time, they don't really know the trigger until you elicit the state, and then they process it in their brain and build up to it again. And then at that point, they get an idea really quickly. Oh, okay, so it's whenever this happens, I know that I'm about to get really, really pissed off.
Yeah. All right.
So at that point, you now know what the buildup is, and you just redirect it.
Okay, good. Anyone, we're reaching the end of the hour here. Does anyone have any last questions?
Hey, come on. There and here.
Couple of voices. Just try one at a time.
My question is, when the trigger to go into trance is installed, say when the person puts his hand over the heart, as you described earlier,
yes,
and that person voluntarily does it in the absence of a hypnotist, can that person bring himself out of it?
Yeah, they can. Basically, they know why they're doing it, and I also give the instruction is you'll stay in this for as long as is necessary and is safe, so that you cannot enter this in any way that would cause danger to you. So, they'll know they'll have to sit down, maybe find a restroom stall or just a corner of the room and go into that state. And they can get out of it without any difficulty.
If I may add, frankly, if you've ever done hypnosis and you zap somebody and you just leave them sitting there and you don't say anything, you watch, and within a few moments they start to kind of just come out of it by themselves. If you have a trigger installed in you to go into a deep, deep, profound state of hypnosis, and you fire that trigger, which, as Dantalion mentioned, I always install it with, And as long as it is safe and appropriate to do so, whenever you fire this trigger, you will go into blah, 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 blah. Okay, so if they fire it, let's say it's installed in you, you sit down at your desk somewhere, you fire your trigger just to play with it, you're going to go pretty deep right off the bat, and after a while, your brain's going to go, I need input here, hello, 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 and it's going to start bringing you back to the surface again no matter what.
Right.
It has to have input.
Something, if someone knocks on your door, you get input right away, and you'll bring yourself up.
Yeah, almost instantly.
Yeah. Okay. I want to close this now just to remind people that the seminar that was the $1,500 seminar that Jeff is teaching in his hometown in December, we have reduced the price to $795, so a little over half. And basically with that, what you get is our complete attention. I think what Jeff decided is there's only enough room in our seminar room for how many people? 12, 15?
12 is what I consider the maximum so that we have plenty of room to do the exercise and practice.
Right. And so what you get is some very, very focused instruction with Jeff and myself, and I'm sure there's going to be some very good hypnosis students there as well. And what you need to do to find out more about this is go to the website, thehypnosisseminar.com. It's right there on the very front page, and it's about in Peabody, Missouri, which is about 20 miles or 30 miles outside of St. Louis.
South, straight south on Highway 55.
Yep. And the hotel is really good, very inexpensive, very friendly, and we've got some great places to go to actually do hypnosis in public as well. So that's something that we'll be doing there as well. So go to thehypnosisseminar.com and check it out. Anything you want to add, Jeff?
No, I'm good with that. Right. I hope anybody who really wants to learn will be able to make it. Honestly, I love teaching it, and can't say anybody's ever walked away that didn't know what they were doing.
True enough. We had some people walk away, but they were clueless. Jeff knows exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, so this call is going to be concluding now. We will do some more of these calls, either with myself or with Jeff and maybe some other people as our guests as well, on mind control, hypnosis, mentalism, you name it. We're going to get into it in depth and make these available to people. So keep an eye on your email. Say again?
Did you record this one? Because I came in late. Did you record this one?
I'm hoping it does record. Let me just say that, okay?
Okay.
Whether it records or not is another matter, but I am in the process of trying to record it right now.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I will make it available, absolutely. Okay, well, thank you very much. You basically took some time, even though this is free, out of your day to be here, and that is a sacrifice. So I want to say thank you for making the sacrifice, and I want to see you at the seminar. Take care, guys.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.